Hey, fellow math snobs, let's find some slope. First thing I do is I take my given and organize it in a good table. Good table means that if I read my table from top to bottom, my x values are increasing. So what comes first? -4. So ordered pair -4, 5. Ordered pair 2, 6. Slope. Symbol for slope is m. So what's the definition of slope? Slope is the change in y divided by the change in x. Slope is the change, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1, divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Slope equals y sub 2 tells me to go to point 2, find my y. Value is 6. So I type 6 minus y sub 1 is going to be 5, divided by x sub 2 tells me to go to point 2, find my x, which is 2. So 2 minus -4. Let's go and fix it up. So slope equals 6 minus 5. I like that. That's 1. Have to do the bottom. So divided by 2. And what does minus really mean? It really means to add the opposite of what I have, which is -4. So slope equals 1 divided by 2 plus the opposite of -4 is +4. So my slope is going to equal 1 divided by 2 plus 4 is 6. Again, slope looks like a fraction, acts like a fraction. We treat it like a fraction. It's not a fraction. It tells me that my y is changing by 1. So y is going up 1 because it's positive, and x is going over 6 because it's positive. So it tells me that my y is going to go up 1 and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then my next one is going to go up 1, and then my change in x is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that right there is my line. All right, let's do a practice problem. Okay, here's your practice problem. Find slope. Go ahead, turn off the video, do your work, come back, see how you did. All right, I got a slope of 1/5. How did you do? Let's go to another example. Example number 2, let's find slope. Given the 2 points, -2, -6, and -3, 4. So once again, you're going to take your given and you're going to organize it in a good table. Good table means that our x values are increasing. So what comes first on the number line, -2 or -3? -3 does, so that makes -3, 4 our point 1. And our point 2 is going to be -2, -6. -2, -6. That's our point 2. Okay, so slope has a symbol of m. Slope stands for what? The change in y compared to the change in x. Slope stands for change, a subtraction, so y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So slope equals y sub 2 tells us to go to point 2, find our y coordinate. Our value is -6. Take out the symbol y sub 2, replace it with the value of -6, minus y sub 1 tells me to go to point 1, find my y. My value there is 4. Take out the variable y sub 1, replace it with the value of 4. Divided by x sub 2 tells me to go to point 2, find my x, and my x value is -2. Take out x sub 2, replace it with -2. Minus x sub 1 tells me to go to point 1, find my x. The value there is -3, so take out my variable of x sub 1 and replace it with -3. I did not do any mental math, I just substituted. Okay, look at the numerator. Can we easily simplify it? So -6 minus -4 gets us a big, huge -10. Divided by, do I have to fix the bottom? I do. So it becomes -2. Minus becomes the opposite of what? -3. So my slope equals -10 divided by -2. The opposite of -3 is +3, so +3. So my slope is going to equal to -10. -2 plus 3 is 1. -10 over 1, which gives me a slope of just -10. Okay, this is the picture of slope. It tells me that I'm going down 1, and I'm sorry, it's not going down 1, it's going down 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's my down 10 and then over 1. So this is a very steep line. So that's the picture of slope. But when you answer this question, the question is going to be in its numerical form. You would never leave a fraction in this form like that. It's a slope. It looks like a fraction, it acts like a fraction. We treat it like a fraction, and we would always simplify our fraction to -10. But you can only see the picture of slope when it's in its fraction form. All right, let's try another practice problem. Find slope, come back, see how you did. All right, I got a slope is equal to 2/5. Okay, example number 3, find slope given 6, 4 and -3, 4. So once again, I'm going to take your data, take your points, Arrange them. What comes first numerically from an x point of view is -3. So point 1 is going to be ordered pair -3, 4. And point 2 is going to be ordered pair 6, 4. So what is slope? Slope is equal to the change in y compared to the change in x. So slope is going to equal y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So slope is equal to y sub 2. Go to point 2, find your y, which is 4. Remember, this is point 2, and this is point 1. Why? Because if I graphed it, back 3, 1, 2, 3, up 4, over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 4, and I walked along the x-axis, what is the first point I would see? That one. What is the second point that I would see? That one, okay? So your points go in order from how you would see them as you're walking across the graph from left to right. So y sub 2 has a value of 4, and I'm going to subtract from it. Y sub 1 has a value of 4, divided by x sub 2 has a value of 6, minus x sub 1, which has a value of -3. So slope is equal to 4 minus 4, which is 0, divided by, I have to do some fixing, so keep the 6. Minus is really to add the opposite. Add the opposite of what? -3. So slope is really going to be 0 over 6 plus the opposite of -3 is 3. So slope is really going to be equal to 6 over 9. This is the picture of slope. It tells us that from any ordered pair, what are we doing? We're going up 0 and over 9. Up 0 and over 9. Up 0 and over 9. Remember, slope looks like a fraction, acts like a fraction. We treat it like a fraction, but it's really a ratio. But they're going to want us to report the value of slope. And so we do this, we got to remember, this problem is telling us to divide by 9. I can always divide by a number that has a value of 9, okay? 0 isn't really a number, it's a symbol. It's a symbol that represents I have nothing. It's a symbol that represents the concept of none. So I can do the division by 9, but 9 can't be divided into a concept. So when I look at this, my answer is just a concept. It's just going to be 0. Slopes of all horizontal lines will always be 0 because is there any change in y? No, there is no steepness to a horizontal line. A horizontal line is flat. It's just doesn't go anyplace. It just goes forward. It doesn't go up and forward, up and forward, up and forward. It just goes forward. So my change in y is always 0. So my slope will always be 0. Let's look at example number 4. All right, example 4. Find the slope of the line that's created between the ordered pairs -6, -2, and -6, 6. So once again, take your data and arrange it in a good table. So both of these have -6 as the x-coordinate. So then which one comes first? You're going to go to the y-coordinate. So who's first, -2 or 6? So -2 is. So the first ordered pair you'll see at your table is going to be -6, -2, and your second ordered pair is going to be -6, 6. So this is our point 1. This is our point 2. So how do we find slope? We know that slope is defined as the change in y compared to the change in x. I know that slope is equal to change is defined by as y sub 2 minus y sub 1. That's what makes a change, divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So slope is equal y sub 2. Go to point 2, find your y. The value there is 6. Take out the variables, substitute in 6. So 6 minus y sub 1 tells us to go to point 1, find our 2, and our value there is -2. So take out y sub 2 and replace it with -2. Divided by x sub 2 tells us to go to point 2, find our x, which is -6. So -6 minus x sub 1 tells us to go to point 1, find our x. What do we see there? We see -6, so it's minus -6. Let's do some cleanup work. Slope is equal to -6. Minus really means to add the opposite of -2. So we'll have some more cleanup work. Divided by -6. Minus really means to add the opposite of, and what do we see there? We see -6. So again, more cleanup work. So slope is equal to -6 plus the opposite of -2 is 2, divided by -6 plus the opposite of -6 is 6. So that gets us m equals -2 plus 6 is -4 divided by 0. Now, don't report your answer like this. This is the picture of slope. Tells us that we're going to go from any point down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 0, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 0. So this gives us a vertical line. But we have to report our slope, right? So we don't want to report it in picture form. We want to report it in symbol forms as a value, right? Okay, so here's our division bar. Our division bar is telling us that we have to take -4 and divide it by 0. But 0 really isn't a numeral. It really isn't a number. It really is a symbol that represents a concept of I have nothing. So can we actually divide by a concept? And the answer to that is no. So because I can't actually do the division that this fraction is asking, we just report our slope as undefined, 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 meaning that there is no change in y over change in x because there's no change in x and we can't divide by 0. So if you're given a problem and you have to work backwards and you see the word undefined, what do you know? All vertical lines will have a slope that is described as undefined. All right, let's do a practice problem. Find slope given the... Go for it, see what you get. Alrighty, I got a slope of 0. And how many of you, when you ordered it, put it in your table, you're like, oh wow, my y's are staying the same, therefore there is no change in y, so what's my change in y going to be? 0. Okay, so I can find slope either from a picture or mathematically. How'd you do? Okay, example number 5. And here's where Jedi mind games come in. They're telling you to find slope. However, did they give you everything that you needed? In order to find slope, you need 2 points. You need to be able to arrange your data in a table, right? So imagine you standing right here and walking forward. And here's the first point that you're going to see. And you're like, so what is that point? And you're like, it doesn't look like it. Well, first off, what's my scale, right? So it's going back to -6. So each one of these hash marks has to be -2, right? So what is that point going to be between? It's going to be between -2 and -4. So I'm going to say my x is -3. That's as close as I can get. And then what am I going to do for my y? You're like, well, there's 2 and then there's 4. So did they give you the first ordered pair? They sure did. Did you have to figure it out? You sure do. So then what's our second ordered pair going to be? And you're like, well, 2, 4, it looks like it's a 6 to me. So we're going to go over 6. And then it looks like we're going, are we going down 2? I don't think we're going down 2. Because if we're going down 2, I'd be right there. And if I was going down 4, I'd be right there. So I'm going to assume that they meant that that was supposed to be 3. So we're going to go over 6 and then down 3, so it makes it -3. So when I come to my ordered pair table, I know that my first ordered pair is going to be -3, 4, and my second ordered pair is going to be 6, -3. Once you get your 2 points, can you find your slope? So slope is defined as what? The change in y compared to the change in x. So slope is really y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So slope is really going to be y sub 2, which is -3 minus 4, divided by x sub 2 is going to be 6 minus -3. So do I have some cleanup to do? I sure do. So slope is equal to -3 minus 4. Once again, minus is written. Some of you are going to do this in your head. It's really -3 what? Plus the opposite of what looks like to be 4. So it's really -3 plus -4. Over 6 plus the opposite of -3. So still more cleanup. So m equals -3 plus -4 gets me a -7 divided by 6 plus the opposite of -3 is going to be 3. So my slope is going to be -7 over +9. And if I look over here, then the distance between my high value of y and my low value of y, right? I'm going to go from here to here, and what is that going to be? My change in y is equal to a -7. It's down 7. And then my change in x is going to go from here to here, which is a +9. So my change in x equals a +9. So then what's slope going to be? Slope is still going to be defined as the change in y divided by the change in x. And my change in y was a down 7 over my change in x is going to be over 9. Do we get the same answer? We sure do. So I could do my work algebraically, or I can do my work pictorially. Hey, practice number 4. Find slope of the given function. So if you see this, what does function refer to? Function refers to just the graph that you see. It's a function because it's a continuous line. Find your slope. All right, I got a slope of 1/9.